Well, today we're featuring Botanical Birds by Hunkydory, and Heidi has created 4 projects for you. We've got 8x8s, and then we've got these topper sets that I'll show you in just a moment. In fact, here's one of the cards. You can see that gorgeous owl, great horned owl. And on all of these, the insides of the cards are done also. So please come play with us. Well, before we get into the projects, I just want to kind of show you a little bit about the things that we're going to be using. Now, the 8x8 Botanical Birds, there are 48 sheets, and this is what they look like. So they've got a lot of the birds cutouts on top, and then on the back side there is a patterned all over cardstock. So in fact, I might as well just show you. These are the ones that are not used in the webisode, and you can see, I guess I should show you the back side, huh? And so there are 12 different designs. You're going to get 4 of each. So just is going to give you everything in the bird world that you probably want to know. Hummingbirds, oh, neat. And the peacocks, as you can see, we've got lots of ducks, and that's the back side, and cranes and pelicans, and bald eagle, golden eagle. And this is the osprey, the horn owl. Okay, so that's what they're going to look like. Then we have these 4 sets that are sold as 1 unit. And this is Soaring Skies. So it's going to be the kind of the art that you've seen before, but these are die cut, they have foiling. In fact, let me just show you one, because they're all like this. This is Glorious Gardens. So you're going to get them foiled, and then you're going to get a sheet that is printed, and then you're going to get a different sheet that has some foiling on it. You can see that on the edges. So that's true of all of them. And in these, you can make, I would think at least 3 cards out of each. They say 2 on their literature, but you know, I know you can do lots more. So Glorious Gardens, Tropical Paradise, that's where you're going to get the flamingos and the parrots and so forth. This is Wonderful Wetlands, that's going to be the ducks and so forth. And Soaring Skies, I bet the eagles and the owls are going to be there. So these 2 make just a really wonderful companion set. And let's get into our very first card. And that is going to be I'm going to be using those in a minute. That is this card, and it is using the topper set. Now, as you can see, let me get that out of camera range. This is a Slimline card, and it is using the Hunkydory tent fold Slimlines. This has the cards and envelopes. So you can see it's going to be folded right at the narrow edge, and that's what Heidi has used. Now, in this, she is using, let me pull out the pieces. So she's going to use this cardstock, which is not foiled. And you can see right here, that's what she's going to use on the front. So that does a nice job. And then she also is going to use these toppers, as you can see, that beautiful arch shape. So her first step is going to cover that, that card in some blue. Now, initially, I thought that why doesn't she just use the blue area of this other sheet, but there's not enough. So that's why she didn't. So she went into the window view cardstock, and as you know, you can see all of the colors in all of our solid cardstocks on the website, and you can even print them off to get a snapshot of the colors. That way you can use that as a reference. So you can see you've got a couple of kind of a blue and a blue purple, but she has used the blue to cut a piece that's going to act like a matting on this piece. So this piece is going to fit almost perfectly right there. In fact, you'll probably want to trim a little bit off the left side, and then you can really get that right there. And that's going to leave a really nice opening. And for that opening, she has, I mentioned the arch shape. She used our arch dies, and she used the one that is 2 3/4 inches wide to die cut right here. So that's going to be fun. It lets you do a shaker card, a shaker tent card, shaker tent Slimline card. Okay, you got all that? And so simply cut this piece, then take the arch die and trim that, die cut that piece. And then you want to put a piece of acetate. And we do sell the acetate by the sheet if you like. And although Heidi does have a propensity, she really likes the heat-resistant acetate because it's so thick. So you can do that if you like. Now this piece is going to have the acetate glued to the back of it. You want to use extra sticky tape to do that. And then it's going to get foam taped onto that blue piece. But before you do that, let me get these out of the way. Before you do that, you're going to want to put some crystals or something in there. Now, this is a set that we did have, and this is actually the last one. It's that we're out of stock. And what she did is she just took pinches of the various colors and put them inside this area. So that really held it in place. And she did take the foam tape, and this is our humongous roll of foam tape. And it is quite a value if you have the money to spend on it, because it's going to last forever. And it does a really nice job. It's a nice thickness, but you do need 2 layers. So you're going to put 2 layers. You can either do it on the blue or you can do it on the back of this, whichever works better for you. But you want it to go all around the card, but then more importantly, you want it to go around the arch, because that's going to contain these pieces. Now you can use sparklets, you can use really just anything that you have, but this is what Heidi used, and I'll tuck that away. And then she glued, again, you can use the extra sticky tape, the parrot on top. So you can see there's the toucan and there's the parrot. Just works really nicely. And right here, she has placed one of the foiled greetings. Two can do it. Two can do it. You can do it. Two can do it. Okay. And right there, so you're going to glue it here and foam tape it over here. And then Heidi uses the bow maker, Hunkydory's bow maker, all the time, absolutely all the time. And I know that many of you have followed her, and it just works so well. So I won't be showing it every time, but just know if there is a bow, it's been done with the bow maker. And she does dot it in place. And for this, she used the yellow ribbon set and used the narrower piece. And then she used the green sparkles, and you can see them on the corners. There you go. Yeah, right there. So that takes care of our card front. We have a shaker card. Now, if you don't want the shaker card, but you do like the look of that arch, well, just don't do the foam tape. Just go ahead and glue it straight down onto the blue piece. By the way, all of the measurements are down below in the instructions. They're all written out for you. And for the inside of our card, well, on this one, so we used this part on the front. This part she has turned, and she's using on the inside of the card. You want to do the same thing. Cut this and then mat it on that blue and glue it inside. And then going back to our toppers, she's taken the toucan and put it there. And then have a beautiful day that is turned on its side. And then that little hummingbird is foam taped in place. More of the bows and knotted ribbons, and then more of the green sparkles on each of those. So that takes care of this card. Very nice. Nice to see something done differently on a Slimline card. Okay, now speaking of done differently, Heidi has done this. And let me show you what the products are. So this is the topper set, and you can recognize that little, I think that is a tit, a T-I-T bird. Anyway, we'll just set it here. And she also was really captured by the artwork in that it's got all of these pieces of lined paper. And that's interesting. So she wanted, and you can see it over here under this foiled sheet, there's some pieces of that. So she had a good time of creating this card front. And the way that she did it was to take this piece and not the bird, because the bird we want to set that aside, but the other pieces, she kind of whacked them out in odd shapes. Now, because I know you really want to see what that is, I took those shapes and made a download for you. So these are all the shapes that she used, and this is the number in which they were glued down to her card. So I'll walk you through that in just a second. Then this one is for the bird, okay? And that bird is, like I said, on this side of the sheet of Adorable Scoreable. So what she did is to kind of wanted to duplicate that kind of collage look. And so she did cut out those pieces. Now, let me show you. So here's what Heidi did for me. So if you, I think you can see this. So here is the card front. And she did first put, let's see, yes, so she has the colors here. Okay, so you can take these random pieces and mat each of them on the gold, and the gold is, I believe, also from the window view. You can see that gold right there. And let me just show you how those pieces went down. So here we have number 1, and it's going to go right there. Then number 2 is going to go right here. So you can see that that's following the shape of the card. Number 3 is right here. Number 4 is going to go right here. And number 5 is right here. So it's covering it up. Now, these are all a little bit smaller because you do want to mat them first, okay? And that's going to get you your placement. Now, if that feels like you don't want to do that much, but you like the look, there's another way you can do this. And let me show you what that is. You could simply take this piece, again, we don't want to use that, but you could just mat this and glue this to the bottom of your card, and then glue that to the top of your card. And I think you would get a similar look, not quite as involved, but a similar look. So a couple of different ways you can do it, and that's really helpful to have that. Now, with that, then, for the bottom layer, she took this piece, so this big circle, the foiled circle, and simply glued it down flat. Now, you can see that there are some pieces of lined notebook paper, and Heidi cleverly did her own. So here's what she did, is she took just white paper, and these two markers, this is the ice gray and the pale pink. Now, obviously, the pale pink is going to go here, and the ice gray is going to make those lines. So you just ruler and just do that. Then she did a hole punch, and then she used the pear green ink pad along with the, along with the brush, and she did tear these. In fact, let me just show you the end result. So here it is. See how these are just torn? You could cut it. And then she did the inking. I think let's get in closer just to make sure that you can really see, because that's a light green. There you go. So this is the pear green, and she just went along that edge. And that's fine for those to roll over, because that's the look that is in the art. And then she tore those pieces, and you can see that she put one in the middle of this circle, another one kind of angled underneath it, and you could lift this up and tuck another one in there if you like. So that worked nicely. It gives you that collage look. Then we're ready to take our bird and cut it out of this shape, and again, mat it and place it right there. Now, this, you'll notice on the foiling, there is foiling along the edge, and it's a narrow foiling. Well, to duplicate that, clever Heidi took our thin line gold dazzles. Now this you can get by the sheet, and she placed it on the outside edge of all of the papers. So of this and also of those that were placed on her card. So that just did a good job. And then have the most wonderful day. That's been foam taped. She went to her bow maker, and she elected to bring out the blue in the bird and with her bow and zotted it in place. Then she used the silver and gold pearls, and you can see them on the corners. There are 3 different sizes, and so she just used them as she used all the gold on these because of the gold foiling. Then on the inside of her card, this is the green area of that sheet. So you've got some area there. And she simply cut it about halfway on the inside of her card. So you're going to cut it like that and then just trim off this corner. That will make it easy. Thin line dazzles right there. Another one of the lined paper that she made herself, or you can buy lined paper and simply do the inking and distressing. That will take care of it for you. Another bow. And this has been foam taped in place, and this Best Wishes is also foam taped. So out of this sheet, she has used this and the outside one and the Best Wishes and the Have the Most Wonderful Day, but everything else is still available. So like I said, I think you can get certainly 2 cards, but probably 3 cards out of every sheet. So that's nice. Now these 2 cards, these are the pearls, obviously, right there. Clever. Nice to have 3 in a row, and I think that works nicely. Also nice to have them at the ends of the thin line dazzles. Now on these 2 cards, she used those topper sets. On the next 2 cards, she's going to use that 8x8 paper. And here is the one that I showed you in the beginning. And isn't that pretty? Now this is the sheet that she used, and this is the great horned owl. There's also a pygmy owl, which is very tiny right there, a great horned owl, and a tawny owl, so all of them. This is the back side of it. Now, like I said, you get 4 of each one, so you can take this one and simply glue it to cover the front of your card. And you know how we do that. You simply put your adhesive around the edge, maybe make a big X in the middle, place this even with the fold and even with one side, press down, turn it over, and trim it to fit. Okay, so that would be one sheet. Then she took the second sheet, and this one she matted on black. So you can see that this has all been cut out, including the great horned owl down there. And that has been matted on black and simply glued in place. Now, then she went back into the book and took another of the owl. So you've got 4 sheets. So you used one here, one here. This did the whole owl, cut it out, and then foam taped it, and then just did the face and foam taped it. So you get that dimension, but really it's not much lift. It's not very thick. So that's nice. And the owl is perched on these moss-covered rocks, so that's nice. And then she took this piece, Another Year Wiser, and she matted it on black, foam taped it right here. She's got his talons just going right over it, so that works. And then she did another one and actually tore it. Now in the art, it kind of looks torn, but she physically tore another sheet and foam taped that on top. Then we've got another bow with our bow maker, and this happens to be from the Burgundy set, and that's just really pretty nicely. It kind of echoes the berries that are in that. And this is the gold studs, and she's got those placed here. Now you are using all 4 of those layers, all 4 of those pieces of this sheet. But she also did cut this out of another sheet and then foam taped it in place to give a little dimension. And you may be noticing a little bit of shading around the edge. Well, you can do that at the end, or you can do it at the beginning. It's probably better to at the beginning. And this is Velvet Fawn. It's just a wonderful warm brown that is very, very useful. And again, you want to apply it with the blending brush with the cards sitting on your craft mat. So that works nicely. Now for the inside of her card, she did use another piece of this. And you can see that she's got a piece of the black cardstock that goes all the way along the card right next to the fold line. So this, and then she has taken this, so it's a whole description of that owl, and matted that on black and placed it, and then she cut out a second image and foam taped it on top. More of the gold studs and another of the burgundy ribbon. And a little bit of the Velvet Fawn ink pad around the edge. So that just is very, very nice. Okay, again, that was out of the 8x8 paper. Now this last card is also out of the 8x8 paper. Let me just show you that. This is a center step card. So it's going to stand up just like that. Very striking. And she used, to make her card, she used a cutting die, and this is the center step card out of the Fabulous Folded collection. And the thing that's nice is that you can use this with a regular 6-inch wide die cutting machine. And it is one piece, and it's a solid piece. And people tell me they love the fact that it is solid because it just, the stability is really nice. And she used At the Lake cardstock, and you can see this has got lots of blues and greens, a little bit of brown. She did use the green to die cut her card, and it's going to look like this when you die cut it. Obviously it's going to be, except it's going to be green, and you're just going to follow the directions on the back of the package, although you probably could do this almost without that. And this is going to tell you how to fold them and how to do that. It's mountain and valley folds. So you're simply going to, in the middle, make that a mountain fold, make each side of them mountains, make these mountains, lots of mountains here, and then one valley on each side. So super easy. And by the way, these will fit in our 10 envelopes pack, so we never leave you hanging. We make sure that you have everything you need. So that is what is going to make our card base. And here's the card base that she made. So she did a second run. She's giving me a note here. And the reason that she did that was because she wanted to use the back side of this sheet. This is the sheet she's going to use. It's going to be the Kingfisher. But she really liked this blue and wanted to use that on her card. So you can use that die and just do the front part of it, this part of the die. Just run that through this sheet of paper, and then you will have these already cut to fit. Or you can glue them on and trim them to fit, whatever you like. But you're just going to want them to be these two sides, the long side and then the short one in the front. So that's going to work nicely. Okay, you also can use that to cut this piece. So all of these are done with the blue side of the sheet, and then we're going to use the front side of it to cut this piece. Now this piece, as you can see, is longer than what we need. So you simply are going to trim it. And you would trim right below these two rocks, just right there, and then bring it to fit. Now, this can get matted on the same green that you use for your card. That would work perfectly. You already have the blue because we talked about that. And then to decorate this, she has used the fancy border dazzles. And again, you can get this by the sheet. It's gold. You can see how beautifully that looks on top of the blue. So she did one piece on each side, and then just a little piece right here. Then because you cut right here, you've got the kingfisher, and she simply glued it on the side. So that worked. Then she also added some jewel dazzles. Now, these have 540 on the sheet, and you can see in the corners where she's got 3 on each corner, and these are the tiniest ones. It just adds a bit of bling to her card. On the inside, now she has used, again, using the die cutting machine, she has simply cut that part and glued it in place. That works. The green is beautiful. And by the way, I just want to point out, you can see it is a dark green on one side and a light green on the other. And that's how we do our cardstocks. So that's going to just blend beautifully. Now with this, she went back to her sheet and she used the seagull. And the seagull just gets trimmed out and glued in place. All of these little words, so you've got kingfisher, kingfisher right here. You've got puffin. Remember, you get 4 sheets. You've got seagull right here. These 2 were foam taped. These are glued. And then she did cut out 2 of the little puffins and have them sitting on the little identifiers. Seagull is already there in the art. And then this is more of the border dazzles and the jewel dazzles. So border, border, and jewel on the corners and in each of the little labels. So that took care of this. Again, this, like the, well, as I said, these will also fit in the 10 envelopes package. So that works nicely. Okay. So that is what we've got for our botanical birds. 2 cards out of the 8x8 collection, and then 2 cards out of the topper collection. There's the one that's missing. And all together, they just make a beautiful collection, as you can see. So there are directions down below. Just click on any of the cards that you saw, and you can follow the directions. It will also list all the products that were used, so that's often helpful. And you've gotten a look at every single thing that we have, so that's helpful. Now, if you are watching us on YouTube, please, we hope that you will, of course, like us and subscribe. Everybody tells you that, but we also tell you that. And then please head on over to paperwishes.com. We have a money saver. So if you want both of these, on the right-hand side of your screen, there's a discount, because we always like to kind of take care of your pocketbook with you. So that's available to you. Again, if you scroll down at paperwishes.com, you can leave a comment on this. And again, it will show you all the products that were used, and you can get an idea about that. So I want to thank you, Heidi. Great job, some fun things. We're at a time right now that there's a lot of Christmas, but I think it's really nice to see some other ideas too. And I do want to tell you that we really pride ourselves at Paper Wishes that not only will we scour the entire paper crafting world to find the very best things for you, but we'll also give you ideas on how to use it. We think that sets us apart, and we hope you agree. I want to thank you, Heidi, as I said, and I want to thank you most of all for being part of our Paper Wishes family. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.